GPT-4 is here, and in this video I'm going to show you what's inside, what you can expect, and also some ramifications of what's happening. So GPT-4 is the fourth in line, or fifth if you count ChatGPT into that, in line of products from OpenAI that are revolutionizing how we think about language models. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Transformer is a particular architecture of a neural network. Pre-trained means it was trained on some data to generate text, and then generative means it's generative, it creates from nothing some text based on the prompt you're giving to it. So altogether, GPT, generative pre-trained transformer. So GPT-4 is 5 in line because we had previously GPT-1, GPT-2, GPT-3, and then we had ChatGPT, which is a little bit like GPT 3.5. And ChatGPT was the one application that really got the world talking. Probably all of you heard about ChatGPT because it was so popular. Even if you haven't used it, you've probably seen the screens of people asking of ChatGPT something and getting the answer. So GPT-4 will actually power ChatGPT as well, but you also have API access. So let's have a look first at the video and then we come back to the article here. I want to show you the super short video coming from OpenAI itself.
GPT-4 is the latest AI system from OpenAI, the lab that created DALL-E and ChatGPT. GPT-4 is a breakthrough in problem-solving capabilities. For example, you can ask it how you would clean the inside of a tank filled with piranhas, and it'll give you something useful. It can also read, analyze, or generate up to 25,000 words of text. It can write code in all major programming languages. And it understands images as input and can reason with them in sophisticated ways. Most importantly, after we created GPT-4, we spent months making it safer and more aligned with how you want to use it. The methods we've developed to continuously improve GPT-4 will help us as we work towards AI systems that will empower us all.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Probably the biggest update from my perspective is this thing, which gives you actually even more reasoning capabilities, plus the fact that it's multimodal, so it will take also visual input. You can actually submit an image for that to reason on. So this is really huge and it's really going in a very interesting direction. Also, what I want to show you is there was a live demo from developers and I will show you what will happen then. There are a bunch of examples, so the whole thing has 25 minutes, so I won't show you everything, but I want to show you some of the examples, starting with example number 3, I guess. So maybe just for the explanation first, the first one is pretty interesting because in the first example, the co-founder of Greg Brockman, the co-founder of OpenAI, actually shows you how to build a Discord bot using OpenAI GPT-4 and then deploy it on the server. So it's pretty cool.
3.5 just gives up. But let's try the exact same prompt.
So also he explains that because of the changes to API of Discord, there are some there's some problems for GPT-3, GPT 3.5 to do the same task. It wasn't really possible, so this kind of task is really interesting here. Also a fun example that reminds me that actually he gave this long article and he tried to get a summarization using only one letter, and this is something also that GPT-3 couldn't do, but GPT-4 can. So let me show you the particular
So just into a sentence, okay? Didn't even try.
right, so this is what he's trying to do. He's giving this a whole article and then asking it to summarize this text with a word where every word begins with G.
3.5, let's see what it does.
And
Yeah, it kind of didn't even try.
yeah, so you can see that the GPT-3 didn't even try. This is not the right answer. And then if you go to GPT-4,
That's cheating.
then actually you can see that it generates the text with GPT-4 generates groundbreaking, grandiose gains, greatly galvanizing generalized AI goals. And then he even gives that AI doesn't count, so it changes AI to something else. So that's pretty cool because it's even more context that you can add and more nuanced ask nuanced prompts that will give you a very interesting outcome. I think this is super cool. So getting back to the next example is the bot on Discord running from Jupyter Notebook. So let's get to that. There are like different tests with poems then, and basically this is the API. So he gives these instructions on write me a Discord bot with each of these requirements. So you want to accept the message containing image and text input, no need special text to trigger the bot, should respond to every image, then use GPT-4 model in the API rather than GPT 3.5 Turbo, and then post the results to the chat, and then reads credentials from the Discord token, OpenAI API key, this thing.
That documentation. Using it.
So you get the code actually in Python, and then what he does is basically he puts that in Jupyter Notebook.
It's going to work in practice. So you should always look through the code to get a sense of what it does. Don't run untrusted code from humans or from AIs. And one thing to note is that the Discord API has changed a lot over time, and particularly that there's one feature that has changed a lot since this model was trained. Give it a try. In fact, yes, we are missing the intents keyword. This is something that came out.
Now this is cool because this is so as I've mentioned, API to Discord has changed. So he got this error from running the code. Now what he's going to do is really pretty cool, which is basically he's going to paste that into the bot to fill the details.
You can just simply paste to the model exactly the error message. Not even going to say, hey, this is from running your code, could you please fix it?
Right, so he's just putting the same message, the error code that he got from Jupyter Notebook, straight into the playground of OpenAI, and GPT-4 will figure out the details.
We'll just let it run. The model says, oh yeah, whoops, the intents argument. Here's the correct code that we understand.
Yep, and then you got the
second issue that can come up is it doesn't know what environment I'm running in.
So again, he gets another error, and then he basically does the same thing. And again, GPT-4 can fill that detail here and correct the code. And then finally, you get the working code here. And then he actually shows how it works. So basically what he does is he's putting in the image of basically a screenshot of Discord and asking, can you describe this image in painstaking detail? And
you do this yourself or to the actual request.
You can see that it goes through.
And now we wait because one of the things we have to do is we have to make the system faster. That's one of the.
So it's funny because he got the bot from the GPT-4, and then the bot itself asked GPT-4 through API to describe the image. This is this new capability, the multimodal capability that it takes visual prompts as well. And I think this part is really cool. Really great because you can really get some interesting things from putting visual content, and he also gives another example in a moment. So yeah, after some time you basically get this whole answer here. So painstaking detail of describing the screenshot of Discord. This is the answer from GPT-4.
Discord application interface, pretty good. Did not even describe it. It knows that it's Discord. There's probably Discord written there somewhere where it just kind of.
Yeah, so going forward, he basically gives the image here. However, there's a problem of not taking, I guess, the
failure of the model or of the system around the model.
Yeah, so basically another thing with API here. But this is the funny thing is that in this example, he actually shows that he puts the entire documentation of PyCord. So this is the API to Discord. He puts the entire documentation, I think 20,000 words or something, and basically asks for one particular thing of GPT-4, and GPT-4 delivers this thing. This is really interesting, right? This is like unedited documentation.
This is what it's.
And then at the very end of putting that, he just gives this prompt to GPT-4. I'm receiving blank message, why could this be happening?
So one thing that's new about GPT-4 is context length. 32,000 tokens is kind of the upper.
So this shows actually that, the ChatGPT already had the context, but with GPT-4 it can really increase the context here by 10 times at the very least, or even more. I think it goes like to 32,000 tokens or something. So really, really huge number here.
Limit that we support right now, and the model is able to flexibly use.
So as you can see through the answer, it basically gives you the answer, which is hidden somewhere in the middle of this long text, in the middle of this documentation. This is pretty great. So this way he's able to fix the bot so that it takes visual prompts as well from others. And then they test that on the image generated by DALL-E, and basically got the answer depicting the astronaut. Here, so you get the text describing exactly what's on the image.
This is an interesting image, actually. It looks like it's a DALL-E generator.
So going forward, also interesting application was, this is really what got people interested.
Nice hand-drawn mock-up.
Basically, what he gets is he got this hand drawings in his notebook, basically of a website. You can see my joke website with 2 jokes inserted, and he will ask GPT-4 to create a code in HTML and JS to actually write the website. We also with 2 jokes inserted, so he wants to have 2 jokes already in. He doesn't specify these. So this is super interesting because he will take the photo of this and basically post that to the Discord channel, and then GPT-4 will just answer with everything.
A joke website. Take out my phone.
Right. So he's taking the photo.
Take a photo of this mock-up Discord.
Yep. Post it to the channel. Well, yeah, some problems here, but then post it to the channel as you can see, and then with the comment of write brief HTML JS to turn this mockup into a colorful website where the jokes are replaced by 2 real jokes. And then so basically he gets the code.
So literally we just said to output the HTML
as the answer, and then he goes to the to visualize the code. Paste it, and this is the website. So he got the website just from the visual input. This is pretty interesting because this right away shows some interesting capabilities from the visual input. Yep.
What we're going to do is be able to sort of solve problems and get a handle on what's happening.
Now the final here example is actually tax deduction, and it shows how better is GPT-4 when it comes to understanding context and then reasoning to a certain extent.
About 16 pages. What is their standard deduction?
So basically, he gives a long document in taxes and then gives a particular scenario for a question of Alice and Bob getting married and then having son, and then different tax rates and what's the standard deduction for that in particular year. So there are special rates applying for that in the US in that particular years for this particular scenario. This is somewhat hidden in the document previously given above.
What's involved?
So
try to put code, trying to figure out this like back reference and why there's some program, just what's even going on. Applying tool.
So
calculation.
So this is crazy. Of course, he underlines that he's not a financial advisor or a tax advisor in a way, so you shouldn't trust the answer. But it's pretty impressive that you can get something like that and then maybe verify. So this is and then you can do that in a rhyming poem. So this was super interesting. That was the developer live stream. Really recommend watching that if you want to. But basically, I have summarized here everything. So let's get back to some of the text. So they have OpenAI product and then research, and in those two texts, they summarize some of the things as well. Basically, you can test GPT-4 if you have access to ChatGPT Plus. This is the premium option for which you have to pay, I guess, $20 a month to have the access, and then it's also limited even if you have that. So and for the API access, you will have to apply, of course. This is highly limited, but this might be very interesting. So really interesting stuff is that it definitely has more, GPT-4 definitely has more creativity than before, doing more complex text, then visual input, and this creativity is shown very well here. So for example, you can have this kind of input where what can I make with these ingredients? You have some random photo with eggs, flour, and a couple of other things, and then there are many, and you get the output. You get the, for example, you get the things that actually are possible, like pancakes here, crepes, French toast, and stuff like that. So this is really, really interesting. Also for the longer context, again, this was shown in this example from the developers, where actually you get, documentation for a Discord bot. In this example, you have a text from Wikipedia on Rihanna, and you want to have a particular thing described, this in this case having Super Bowl performance and what made it special, and you get the output here. So not only you get original content here, but you get original content about particular aspect of it, which is amazing. GPT-4 surpasses ChatGPT in its advanced reasoning. So they show this example. So as you can remember, ChatGPT was a GPT 3.5. This is GPT-4. So really, really interesting. You also have some tests being run. So for example, apparently bar exam is not a problem for GPT-4, nor a biology Olympiad. It's basically positions in a top 90%, in the top 10%, in the top 1% when it comes to a biology Olympiad, which is pretty crazy. Of course, the different safety and alignment measures are incorporated. So this is a thing about this thing. It's not really open, as would OpenAI name suggest, especially if you look at the research paper. There's nothing about architecture, nothing about data, and so on. There might be different reasons for doing that this way. Of course, they cite competitive landscape, but there might be problem with data. There are different things going within those models. And right now, with Microsoft investing such large sums of money, of course, they want to have it as close as possible. So you won't really learn about the architecture. You can only infer from the previous architectures what were really happening here. But there's definitely something interesting going on here with the whole technology. And yeah, so they don't even give you the hardware that they were training on, which is also something which is pretty much standard, giving you the outline of how long they were training on what kind of machines they were doing that. So the interesting stuff is that the different collaborations that are coming. So for example, Duolingo, you might know them for learning language. They will have GPT-4 included for being able to practice. Be My Eyes is super interesting applications for people with impaired vision. So you can use you will be able to use your smartphone to actually read for you different things you see in the visual world, be that ingredients in a particular product, or just taking a photo and explaining to you, for example, plan of the metro, or what you're looking at and stuff like that. So this is very, very interesting and can help people in a real way. Also, Stripe will have GPT-4 to streamline user experience, similar to Morgan Stanley for wealth management. Khan Academy, this is a very interesting example of exploring the potential when it comes to education. And government of Iceland is also experimenting with GPT-4 for preserving the language. This is also very, very interesting use case. A bunch of other companies going as well, and then you can join the wait list or try the ChatGPT Plus. Another text is more on the research side. So this is OpenAI.com research GPT-4. They give you more stuff. You can also read the paper, but as I've mentioned, paper is mostly about different kind of tests that they've performed. You won't really see anything about the architecture itself, and they only talk about the comparison with GPT 3.5 and GPT-3. So definitely, though, looking at, for example, some of the tests, you can see that it's getting better, especially with vision, but it's getting better related to 3.5, especially when it comes to reasoning, which is very, very interesting. So a bunch of tests is being done, like SATs in the US, JREs, and for example, Olympiads in art history, biology, calculus, and so on. So before you had absolutely zero ability to reason upon calculus and things like physics and so on. Right now it's getting there where we GPT-4 actually can reason upon simple math and physics problems, and that's really interesting, because mathematics is like a huge deal here, because if you figure out reasoning upon mathematics, you can have these ramifications of going into, for example, investing, wealth management, and stuff like that. Like, math is really crucial in many aspects of today's world, even if it's behind the curtains. If GPT-4 will be able to reason upon maths, then a lot of things unlocks in the end. It's not there. I mean, if you look at the Olympiads, it's doing all right, but it's still in the at the bottom. But it's definitely much better than GPT 3.5. So I guess in the next iterations, this is one of the things they might focus on, is having those reasoning on demand when it comes to these kind of problems. So this is really interesting. Altogether, this is also really crucial here. So not only you have visual input, but also you can understand the context. And for example, what is fun about this image, and actually ChatGPT-4 gives you the answer that the humor in this image comes from the absurdity of plugging a large, outdated VGA connector into a small modern smartphone charging port. And then it also explains each photo, each panel side by side. So this is really interesting. I'll give you the link down below to that in the description. GPT-4 is definitely here, and it looks super exciting, so I will definitely be testing that. For everything else, of course, subscribe to the channel. I tend to talk mostly about crypto on this channel, but also about different tech and AI aspects, as I'm working on the verge of the two, trying to connect decentralized computing to different blockchains. So give me a follow, subscribe, and see you in the next video.